There are moments in life when a single decision, a single action, or even a single phone call becomes the fragile thread holding an entire future together. On a stormy evening in a towering glass building that pierced through the clouds of the city skyline, a young concierge named Elena stood at her desk, unaware that the next few minutes would decide not only her destiny but also that of a billionaire CEO sitting just meters away from her. The night hummed with tension, the kind that sits heavy on your chest before disaster strikes. The CEO, Liam Hargold, a man known across the country for his business empire and unshakable confidence, sat with his head buried in his hands, defeated. His company, his life's work, was on the brink of losing its biggest international client. And Elena, a quiet concierge who was barely noticed in the building's daily hustle, was about to step into a moment far larger than herself. Sparkles if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Thread before the story continues. Your support helps us keep sharing stories that touch hearts. Sparkles. Elena was not supposed to be working overtime that night. She had already endured a long day dealing with guest complaints, last-minute meeting arrangements, and the usual chaos that came with serving executives who often forgot that the people around them were human too. But something told her to stay a little longer. She noticed the way Liam had been pacing the entire evening, the way the lights in his office remained on long after everyone else had gone home, and the way despair seemed to cling to him like a shadow he could not outrun. She had seen powerful people fall apart before, but never someone who hid his fear as desperately as he did. She stood behind her desk, staring at the city lights reflecting against the windows, when suddenly the phone rang, a sharp, urgent tone that sliced through the silent office like lightning. She glanced at the caller ID and froze. It was a number from Germany, one she had seen earlier on Liam's schedule. She remembered overhearing a meeting assistant mention that the company's most important client, a German tech conglomerate, was reconsidering their partnership. This call could either destroy everything or salvage what little hope remained. Elena felt her heart race as she picked up the receiver, steadying her breath even as her hands trembled slightly. On the other side of the glass wall, Liam looked up at the sound of the ringing phone. His expression was a blend of panic and exhaustion, his eyes pleading silently as though he already knew the gravity of the situation but didn't have the strength left to face it. He had already attempted calling the German client several times, each attempt ending in voicemail or cold rejection. Elena knew he was moments away from giving up. And sometimes, all it takes is one person refusing to let despair win. Elena answered the call with the professionalism of someone who had long learned to steady her heart even when the world around her shook. She spoke with warmth, respect, and clarity, apologizing on behalf of the company for missing the earlier communication and assuring the caller that their concerns mattered deeply. She didn't sell them a script. She didn't use corporate lines. She simply spoke like a human being who understood struggle and disappointment. As she listened to the tense German voice on the other end, she sensed anger, frustration, and a hint of betrayal, feelings that could easily collapse a long-standing partnership. But Elena didn't rush. She let them speak, let them vent, and let them feel heard, something they had not felt from the company in weeks. Her voice carried sincerity that came from her own personal battles. She knew what it felt like to be overlooked. She came from a humble childhood where every dream seemed impossible and every step forward felt like a battle against giants. She knew what it meant to fight for recognition, to fight to be respected. And now, she used that empathy to extend a bridge toward the client. She reassured them that Liam valued the partnership more than anything, that the recent miscommunications were not a sign of negligence but the result of internal chaos that they were working to fix. She promised that Liam would personally address the issues and offer solutions to rebuild trust. And something remarkable happened. The anger softened. The tension eased. A conversation that began with the threat of termination shifted toward understanding, and eventually, toward hope. The German representative asked her to transfer the call to Liam. She looked at him through the office glass, and he stared back, stunned and uncertain. But when she nodded gently, he realized that this young concierge, the woman everyone overlooked, had just done what none of his executives could. She had kept the door from slamming shut. Liam walked out of his office like a man dragged out of quicksand, picking up the phone with shaking hands. Elena stepped aside, not wanting to intrude, but she could hear the softened tone in the client's voice. Minutes later, Liam returned the receiver to its cradle, exhaling a long, emotional breath. He sat down, covering his face, but this time not in despair, in relief. Elena saw him wipe away tears he never allowed anyone else to see. He looked at her with gratitude deeper than words, a silent acknowledgement that she had saved his company from collapse. In that moment, she was no longer invisible. But life has a way of rewarding courage in unexpected ways. A few days later, Elena received a letter requesting her presence in the CEO's office. She walked in nervously, unsure of what to expect. Liam stood there, no longer the broken man she had seen that night, but someone awakened, someone who understood the value of every person around him. He told her that her compassion had done more than save a business deal, it had changed him. He offered her a new role within the company, one that recognized her ability to connect, to communicate, to lead. Elena had never imagined that a single act of kindness could lift her from the shadows into a place where her strengths could shine. But that's the magic of life, sometimes your greatest breakthroughs happen in moments you least expect. Months passed, and the partnership with the German company grew stronger than ever. Liam frequently credited Elena's intervention as the turning point. And Elena, once just a concierge behind a desk, became a symbol of what empathy, humility, and courage can accomplish. Her life didn't change because she sought opportunity. It changed because she chose to care at a moment when it mattered most. Red Heart, if this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Thread. Your support helps us keep bringing real, emotional stories to life. Red Heart.
Bienvenido al país.
Benvenido el país.
Cioè, lo estoy viendo acá. Preference. Con un anuncio. Ne hai fatto